What is up everybody, this is Ronnie and welcome to another Canva tutorial. In this episode, I'm going to show you step by step how you can add videos to your Facebook post in order to promote your business. And we will take the example of an Italian restaurant. So if you're ready, I suggest we jump into Canva. Alright guys, let's start since we are going to design a Facebook post by selecting the right doc type. So a doc type in Canva is simply the type of document that you are going to be using. So it's important to use the appropriate size for a Facebook post. So if you simply type in Facebook on the search bar right here, you can see that Canva will propose you different kind of Facebook related documents. And I'm going to click on Facebook post. And I'm going to start from scratch. So what we want to design here, let's imagine we are an Italian restaurant. But now we have to kind of communicate to our audience since people don't come and dine in our restaurants as usual. We want to keep reminding people that we are open, that we exist, and that they can order from our restaurant. We still do deliveries, we still do takeaways. So we want to create a little post to advertise an online cooking class. All right, so this post is going to be for just that. So this Italian restaurant trying to promote an online cooking class. And because we want to get as much attention as possible on Facebook, we're going to use video to add some movement in this design. All right, so this is my Facebook post canvas, my document, my doc size. And I'm going to start this design by adding an element, which is a grid. So a grid is like a container. If I click on the first one right here, it's going to cover my entire document. And now I can basically drop anything I want in this grid. Could be a photo. So you see if I take a photo and drop it here, I'm holding my click. But if I release my click, this photo is going to jump into my grid. Or you can do the same thing with video. See, I can just drop the video here. So I'm going to search for a relevant video. I'm trying to find a video about like tomato sauce or something like that. So I'm going to type sauce and see what comes up. I'm looking for something that could make sense for my Italian restaurant, something maybe like pasta, something like this. This could work. Do we have more sauce video or let me see. Savory sauce, I have this one video right here. I'm gonna add this. Okay, so cutting the tomato, that's perfect. All right, so I have the base of my post. I have the background, which is actually a video playing. So now I'm going to add the information on my post right here and the information I want. So I'm going to start by simply adding the text. So the first text box will say online, like this. Then I will add another text box. So I'm just typing my T key on my keyboard to add text boxes, right? This will say cooking class, and I want this to be all caps. So I'm going to just use this button right here to do uppercase. And one more text box, so another T, easy Italian recipes. Okay, so that's the information I want. Of course, I'm going to tweak this text to give it some different fonts. And then there is one more detail, one more text element here. So again, the T key on my keyboard and I'm going to select this. And this last one is going to say Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., for example. Okay, so now I have all the information. All I need to do is to style this post to make it beautiful and see how it looks like in terms of composition. So for this, I'm going to use different fonts, of course, and different sizes. So the most important, I would say, piece of information on my design, and that's when hierarchy comes into it becomes important in your design. So hierarchy in your design is what is the most important piece of information. In this case, I believe it is cooking class. So this one word right here. So I'm going to start by styling this one word. Okay, so I'm going to make this the biggest, and I'm going to use a bold font. So for this, I'm going to go for Barlow condensed bold. So this font right here, and I'm going to make this way bigger. From 24, I'm going to go 80. Okay, this looks pretty good. And maybe I can play with the spacing of the letters. I'll go with 50. Okay, so it's a bit more space in between my letters. This is not going to be at the center, but slightly above, like this. But definitely centered vertically like this. Okay, so cooking class, Barlow. Maybe I can make it bold as well. Let's see. This is already, oh no, I can make it bolder with the bold button here. So this is looking good. Maybe I change the color. I'll change the colors later. And then easy Italian recipes. So I also want this to be uppercase, easy Italian recipes. And I also want this to be Barlow condensed. Maybe not bold. Yeah, maybe not bold, and give it more spacing between the letters to be a little bit more spaced out. Something like this. So this is already starting to look good. And I'm going to make sure this is also centered vertically. So I can select that text box, use the position button, and you see you can have that very well centered at the middle like this. Okay, so now you are sure it is on your vertical like center line. All right, so now let's take care of this online text box right here. I want something a little bit more fun here. So I'm going to use a handwriting kind of fonts. So one little trick right here, you can actually type in handwritten here, and then instead of having one specific font that Canva will show you, if you type categories of fonts like handwritten or maybe bold or condensed, then you will have a series of fonts that use that property that you mention in the category, the name that you type in, the keyword that you typed in here. So by typing handwritten, then I have a series of fonts that are handwritten fonts. And now I can just go through them and select one that I like. I remember there was one that I particularly liked. It's called Mr. Daffo. I think it's Daffo, Mr. Daffo. Yeah, Mr. Daffo, this one. Okay, so this looks good, but it's too small. So I'm going to make that way bigger by simply stretching it like this. I can stretch it to 120, center it, and maybe slightly rotate it, something like that. Okay, and then the final piece of information right here, give a bit more space, is this text box right here, Saturdays and Sunday. I'll continue with the same Barlow condensed font, okay, so the same as these two, but this time I'm not going to make this uppercase. I'm just going to leave it as it is. So again, going back here to my fonts. Okay, I have to delete this, and then I should have my documents fonts somewhere. Yes, here. So Barlow condensed bold, and to use this. And I'm going to make this bigger as well to 30, 35, 32, 36. Let's try 36. Reduce the letter H a little bit to something like this, 1.1. This looks good. And I'm going to make sure this is centered. So position, centered. Okay, now all I need to do is to add a little bit of styling by adding some shapes in this design, okay? So if you click on the play button, you will see the video will start playing. Okay, you see the video playing here, so that's pretty good. And I can move the video here. If I click and use the trim button, I can also trim this video to exactly the little piece that I want to use, a piece of video. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let the whole length of the video playing, which is fine with me. But what I'm going to do is to make sure I don't have any styling element on that particular grid and video right here. But I don't think I do. This is the video in its original form. Okay, That's pretty good. Now, I'm going to add a couple of shapes on this design to finish it, to make it look more beautiful. And since we are talking about Italian cooking and Italian recipes, I'm going to use the Italian flag colors, so green and red and white. Okay, so I'm going to try to stick to these to add a little bit of an Italian touch to my design. Okay, so just going to go to my elements and use a shape, a rectangular shape. So I can click on see all. I can use this shape, which is an actual square, not a rectangle. If you call rectangles, you can just type your R key and you see Canva will show you a rectangle. Just going to leave it here for now and work on my other rectangle right here. Okay, so if like this, you have one element behind another element, there is a little trick to actually select it. You hold your shift key and you use your tab key. So if my shift key is down and I'm using tab, the tab key, you see I'm just pushing my tab key several times and then it's switching from one element to another. So I can do that until you see I'm trying to select this rectangle back here. It's behind the cooking class. So now it's selected and now I can move it just simply with my keyboard arrow or just my mouse. But sometimes it's more difficult because you have a bunch of elements here and it's kind of hard to go get them because they are behind your text or whatever other piece of elements on your design. So good. So now I have this rectangle here and the text inside. So I'm going to make sure everything is super well aligned here, like this. And Canva is always helping me with these purple lines to help me align things. So that's a good thing. I want kind of like a really flashy red in here. So I'm going to create that color. Okay, so I just, with the shape selected, I click on the color button, and the new color. And so I'm going to go all the way to this end of the spectrum right here and really going to the extreme, to the upper right corner here. So that's a very flashy red. I'm going to go with this. And of course, the black here is not optimal. I'm going to use the white to have a good contrast. Okay, this looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to bring back my other shape, make sure it's as long as it needs to be, like this. Slightly move this down. Okay, easy Italian recipes. Maybe I can stretch that a little bit so it's a bit bigger, like this. Let's push it to 30. Okay, 30. And now I need to reposition. Maybe this shape needs to be slightly bigger, like this. Okay, easy Italian recipes. This is well centered, perfect. And this one is going to be green, so some dark green, kind of like the Italian flag. And again, so just selecting that shape, hitting that color button, new color, and then I'm going to my greens, my dark greens. Okay, and then I'm just going to try to find something interesting here. Okay, something like that looks pretty good to me. All right, this is good. Looks like a tomato and kind of the little head of the tomato. I'm not sure how you call that in English, but you know, like the hair of the tomato. And so the text needs to be white as well. And this part could be white. So we have this consistency, but then if it's white here, then I cannot see my text here. So maybe I can push it down, or I can simply play the video and see. Yes. So this is looking good. Now I have everything. Yeah, maybe I can have this white as well. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. One last thing you could do, because you see sometimes this is good. I mean, I like the way it looks. I like that we have a video in the background, and these text boxes are looking very, very nice actually, and kind of yummy at some point, because the food behind it and the colors really makes me think about Italy and Italian cuisine. So that's good. That's the feeling we want to achieve. But one thing concerns me is that when you see the video is kind of light in the background, it's hard for me to read this. So one way we could counter this is to simply adding a shape, and we will cover the entire video right here to make sure it covers my entire document. Okay, like this. Give this shape a darker color, let's say black, and then some transparency like this. Not too much, because otherwise we will lose the freshness of the video, but slightly like this. Okay, so I'm going to close this, make sure this is slightly bigger. All right, and again, play it. So this gives me this extra layer that makes everything a little bit darker so that I can see my text a little bit clearer. So I believe we are good to go, guys. This is the result I was aiming for. We have our animated or video Facebook post. So this is ready to be published. I can publish straight to Facebook with this button. For that, you will have to configure your Canva to be connected to your Facebook. You can post on your personal account, on your page. But for me, I'm just going to download this video. So make sure you download it as a video, so MP4. So I'm going to download it, show you the final result, and that will be it for this tutorial, guys. All right, so that's the final result. You see everything is looking fresh and nice and tidy. Online cooking class, Italian, easy Italian recipes, and then this is good to go. You can post that on your Facebook page. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, that you learned something, how to use video to make your posts more interactive and moving and attention grabbing in the newsfeed. This was Ronnie. I hope you liked the video. If you did, leave us a like. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel so you never miss our tutorials. And for me, I'm just going to wish you a very creative day, and I will see you in the next video.